Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Paytech Show. Now, this episode's interesting not only because we talk about cross-border payments, but because all our interviews take place in the UK. We speak with Nationwide over in Swindon, Currencies Direct over in the Isle of Dogs, and Apply Financial in their own back garden where it all began. So, to find out more, we ask all our interviewees about the state of payments in this current digital ecosystem. Can you tell me how the payments landscape has grown, changed, shifted in the last couple of years alone?
The payments landscape has changed because banks used to be the only provider of payments, and it was a big money spinner for them. And then a lot of new companies came into the game that weren't banks, that by the regulators were given licenses to be able to provide competition to the banks. And the competition itself has changed the landscape. We're getting faster payments now as well. We're getting much better services linked to the consumer experience, so whether it's online or in store or suppliers being paid, supply chain type payments, all these sort of things have changed the landscape dramatically over the last 10 years. Sometimes challenges and opportunities are the same thing. And I think in the banking industry at the moment, especially the omni-channel type organisations like the older type payment service providers, of which we are one, you have the challenge of trying to maintain your resilience to provide the level of service that you currently have, at the same time as trying to be innovative. Now, some of the more junior types of companies that are coming through, like challenger banks and so forth, they're not encumbered by legacy infrastructure and these sort of heritage services. And they have a real advantage because they can now go ahead and start developing services for the future. We have to balance our older estate, making sure that we'll continue to be resilient, as well as trying to develop those services for the future.
If you think about Nationwide, we have an enduring purpose. You know, we have a purpose around society and looking after our members. So we want to constantly do that, and at the same time respond to the way that technology and the way that people are being served, particularly in the digital environment, is happening, and really responding to the way people live their lives. So it's not about banking products anymore, it's about serving people in a way that's more personalised, but also in a way that's on their side. So using data, using open banking and being on the side for us of our members, but more generally on the side of customers, and not using them for bad, but using them for good. That to me is the challenge.
The competition has grown over the last 2 to 5 years, and predominantly businesses, if you look at the payments industry, focus on three things. First one, price, better tariff, low rates, no fees, for example. That's where you saw the payments industry a few years ago. And now you see businesses competing on the other two factors, one being service, so faster payments, quicker payments, and experience, so a great mobile app, account management. And that's where, you know, the likes of Currencies Direct, for example, are focusing their efforts in differentiating from the market. So in summary, lots of new competitors and everyone trying to find their own niche. Now that cross-border payments are instant, we look at how important accuracy is and how some institutions are going above and beyond to maintain that ever-important accuracy. Payments have always needed to be accurate, right? It's money that you're dealing with. So the most important and the most critical factor for a customer is that the right amount of money is sent, the right amount of money is received, and it's received at the right time. So accuracy cannot be compromised. And that's the balance that most businesses will have to face. How do you simplify a payment process, yet give customers the ability to feel in control of that payment?
There are a number of overlay services that came out from the output of the Payment Strategy Forum. I would say two predominantly that get spoken about, and certainly that we support. One of them relates to confirmation of payee. Now this is ensuring that the payee the member wishes to pay, it's the right details. And this is a call out using the API technology to say, well, is this money going to the right place? Are they the right details that are coming back? And that gives you a much more level of security and confidence that the money is going to go to the intended beneficiary. Request to pay is another part of the Payment Strategy Forum output. It's a fantastic overlay service. We've been working with a party looking at how to encrypt the messages through real-time processing, because in effect, because it's an overlay service,
We're not talking about the transaction or the payment actually moving. We're talking about the value-added service over the top to ensure that there's control there for the payee, the payer, and the biller. So in those sort of two transactions that cover most of the payment transactions that would see, you're paying a bill or you're paying to somebody else that you owe money to, you're covered from a security perspective. So with that, you would like to think that the opportunities for it to go wrong are really lessened.
You still need to validate the details, and also not just from our point of view, but if you're making a payment for the first time, or maybe it's more than the first time, to a supplier, you need to have that AML as well in the background to make sure that they're not on a watch list or a blacklist. And so if you're talking sub-millisecond payment times, you need to make sure that all the tools sitting behind it are validating it and checking for blacklists is as fast as well. So it's a challenge, but it's one that we and our partners in that part of the world are working on.
So with all the different users, banks, regulations, different time zones, how does Apply Financial really make sure that the payment is accurate and effectively work for all your customers?
The way we do that is that our global data repository is sourced from official sources. We get it from central banks, code providers, the banks themselves. We have comprehensive holiday data in there because you're right about different cut-off times. So we can help clients who want to put a T+ date for a payment, find out if it's going to arrive on a certain day, and if it arrives on a certain day, will there be a holiday? So therefore they might have to pay by a faster means of payment to get it there. So we are constantly improving and building on that set of data and set of rules, so that the payment we can make a payment straight through process because it's 100% accurate.
At Currencies Direct, we've built a platform where we've tried to make the payments as frictionless as possible, but give the customer the opportunity to have approval processes in place and have the ability to review payments before they're sent out, so that they can be sure that the right amount of money is being sent and that the right amount of money will be received.
Next, we hear a bit more about Apply Financial's Validate and their work with Currencies Direct. A lot of small organizations have actually started to be able to offer payment services like the banks used to. You've worked with Currencies Direct. Can you tell us about that partnership?
So we've worked with Currencies Direct for 5 years now, and we've watched them grow exponentially over the last 5 years because they're providing really innovative tools and services to their customers. And we're pleased to be part of that, because every time they've wanted to do something new, we've kind of risen to the challenge and we've improved our products. And recently they've launched a payment product that allows companies to do bulk payments into the system through an API. And as part of that solution they've built, they've used our technology, which we're really pleased about, and been a fantastic project to work on, and the response back from the clients has been amazing.
Apply Financial are a trusted partner of ours, have been around for several years with us. What we use Apply Financial to do is validate payments before they're sent, so the customer knows exactly, is sure that the payment is going to land where they want it to land. For example, the right recipient leaves it. So they do prepayment validation for us. With the batch payments platform, what we've done with Apply Financials is use the validation tool in a customer-facing platform. This is the first time that any organization has used the Apply Financial platform in that manner. And what it allows our customers to do is see exactly which payments have passed, which payments have cautions, and which payments have errors, so they can amend them and avoid the repair issues that most cross-border payments may face if we didn't have a pre-validation in place.
How easy is it for institutions or organizations like Currencies Direct to implement Validate?
So it depends on the procedures that a new client goes through to onboard new technologies. So at the sort of longer end of the scale, it can take a customer 3 months to fully go live using our API as part of the solution. But that's normally because of their testing, their compliance, their risk, security tests. Just recently, one global FX company tested our API and had it up and live and running in 5 minutes. So we're not the limitation, and I think the limitation is there for good reason. You don't want to rush into deploying these kind of technologies without fully testing and making sure you're compliant, and you're not going to affect the customers in any way through compliance or risk or security.
Some of these institutions handle millions of payments, every day. How scalable is Validate?
So we recently went through an upgrade process for our environment, so we can basically, it's a limitless scaling. We can go as big as we need to go, but currently the environment will handle 5 billion validations over a year. And we do that because the peak hour or peak minute is what we're trying to achieve. So peak minute might be, hundreds of thousands of payments, maybe millions. It's a true cloud environment. It will scale second by second, minute by minute, depending on the volume that's coming in. So 5 billion, we're looking forward to reaching 5 billion in a year.
Finally, our interviewees give us their predictions for the future of the payments industry.
I think that there'll be an ever-growing set of new entrants into the market to go after the low-value, high-volume type transactions. There isn't much money to be made in that type of business because faster payments, for example, we don't charge for them as a service in the UK. However, it's the customer journey that I think is going to be really, really important. And I see some of the really larger tech companies getting in to this space to develop solutions whereby it's not just about the purchasing of something on their website that they're interested in, it's owning the payment journey and so forth. So it's all in one area. They would like that customer experience, not because they want to have a bank, but because they want to own the whole journey and therefore get the data, and that data is king.
For me, it's all about customers, or in a nationwide sense, members. It's no longer about products, but it's about services and how you can really respond to how people want to manage their money well, so that they can have a really healthy life with money as an enabler of what they want to do in their life. That's how I think our industry will go. So if you look at physical well-being, you can see that in maybe 20, 30, 40 years ago, it tended to be the sports people, the elite athletes that ran the London Marathon or were members of quite elite gyms. And now there's a huge proliferation of how people stay physically fit. It might be doing the park run, it might be these thousands of people who do enter races, it might be the new peloton where everyone's sitting on bikes and racing against each other in different parts of the world. And that has just proliferated. So if you think about that in the financial services context, that's where I think our market's going to go. I think people are going to get much better at saying, this is what's right for me. There's technology and companies out there who can help me do that, and I'm going to really own and take control of the way I manage my money.
At a broad level, I think businesses will start to use transactional data more. We will start to see the use of geolocation and beacons more to customize and tailor payment needs for customers. And I think the continuous usage or the increase in using wearable technology will grow as well. So moving away from a watch to a bracelet to make a payment, or your jumper to make a payment. It's all about how you make frictionless and easier payments for customers. Looking at cross-border or looking at payments closer to home, the biggest thing is today cross-border payments is still a destination place. So you have to come to Currencies Direct as a customer to make a payment, for example, or you have to go to a bank to make a payment. What we're looking to do, and where I think technology will lead us, is that the payments should be wherever the customer is. So the ability to make a payment within a car, for example, the ability to make a payment whilst you're on social media, the ability to make a payment using Alexa or Internet of Things, for example. I think that's where technology will push payments towards, which is being where the customer is, away and not a destination place like it is today.
Well, it can't go any faster than instant. So I would say that is the revolution in terms of speed, but it's also where you can interject within the payment process, whether it's an online payment or in store, and how you carry that out and the kind of services you can add to that. Say, for instance, loans. injecting money into people's accounts because it's 5 days before payday, but they just need a short loan, for instance. There's one example I've seen about how you can use the instant payment gateways and the process to offer those kind of services on checkout in a supermarket, for instance. So that's just one example of, there's lots of young creative people and older creative people, I must say, who are out there coming up with great ways of using this kind of technology, and we want to support them all the way.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Paytech Show. Catch you next time.